Good morning, members. It's been quite some time since I've attempted to do any kind of video tutorial type things. So we'll give it a go. Alright, so this time of year doing a lot of repotting. This is a seedling mix. This is cocoa peat fibre that's mixed with perlite and vermiculite and some fertiliser, and this is used for my seedlings. Now when I repot my seedlings or small pups, for example, I use a fertiliser just to kick them on. Some people like to know which one, so this is an example of one of the ones I use, which is Power Feed Flowers, Fruit and Citrus. Nice big purple bucket, pretty easy to see that one. There's also an Osmocote that I also use, little tiny prills, itty bitty little tiny, and such a small amount of these get used as well, just like literally a pinch in each pot, and don't touch it with your bare hands. I'm now washing my bare hands because it's fertilizer and it will burn, so it just gets tucked away. So that's just a couple of fertilisers that I use. Now, other products that I use quite often, and as gardeners we need to use, a few here you'll recognise. Conguard is commonly used for scale, soft scale, and for fly speck. There's another product called Spectrum, which you get from orchid supply places and other gardening centres. Now, all of these, and this one here at the back is another one, Superway. They're all bug and insect sprays. They all have the same active ingredients, but they've all got a different concentrative amount when they're being mixed up. So, for example, we use 2.5 mils of this Spectrum with 10 litres, and we get 200 grams per litre of the active insecticide itself. When it comes to Conguard, we use 35 to 50 mils of this per 10 litres, and we get only 15 grams per litre. So this one's much stronger, and it's what I'm using for ticks as well as using to help manage the scale, and it's also used for termites in a higher concentration as well. So we had a termite mound, which is terrestrial, that all evacuated a couple of days ago after I'd sprayed for ticks. So whether that was just coincidental or not, I don't know. But that's just the products that I use. Now for rot, we've had a lot of rain, and there's a lot of plants that still have a lot of deadly foliage around the base of them, and the risk is that they could then form rot. And rot is very distinct when you smell it on your plants. It literally smells like decomposing, whatever. So Trifend is what I've used in the past. This does smell when you're using it, just so you're very aware. So you do need very good protective equipment when you're using it. But it's also an insecticide as well. So that's why I do like Trifend, because I'm doing a sort of an all-in-one job at the same time. So it also helps with some of our fruit trees that we use this on. And it's a fungicide and a miticide. Spectrum and Conguard and Trifend all systemic. So is that one behind, Superway. They're all systemic, so the plants need to be sprayed, and then any biting insects will die consequently afterwards. But they do need repeat applications every 2 weeks, 3 times, to break the breeding cycle, and then it just needs getting done a couple of times a year as preventative. So they're the couple of products that I use. My normal potting mix that I use for general potting is a mixture of pine fines, which are these smaller pine bark, sand as well, and a product called NutriBark, which is basically composted pine bark that's broken down, and this wheelbarrow is full of water at the moment because it's raining. It's broken down, so that provides the plants with the nutrients, and that's what most of the other plants in the nursery other than seedling get. And we'll go for a brief walk. This is the work area. These are the Bromeliads that I'm yet to pot up. These are the ones that are done. And this is the seedling house. So because I hybridise, there's a lot of seedlings. The ones in front here are all Koana seedlings that are yet to be named. Some will be kept, some will not. We'll work through those. in time. Up the top here are some seedlings from a couple of years ago. So that's Bilbergia seedlings. These ones here are about 3-year-old now. These are ready to be well and truly transplanted into individual pots. Some will be kept, some will not. These are smaller varieties of Bilbergia as well. And these are some younger ones that are only a couple of years. They're a Bilbergia as well. And then there's some more up the top here. These are a dwarf form that I did. These ones here are about 3-year-old, so they're about full grown. I'm going to transplant them into another pot and see whether they do start to take off, because there's been a bit of neglect in the garden. But that's what happens when you grow seedlings. You end up with a lot of plants. All right, quick walk through, very brief, because it's not great weather conditions and my voice isn't going to take much more of this talking. We'll go into the Bilbergia house, because people like to see where all of the adults breeding stock is. This is the breeding stock that I use. It's quite a large collection that I've collected over 25-30 years. So what I do is I come out and I collect the pollen from the plants that are in flower and store it in the freezer, and then as plants come back into flower that I want to hybridize with, I've got the pollen stored ready for it. So that's just a brief look at some of the Bilbergias that we have growing here.